Here we go. Laws 7 through 12. Watch out. The offside law. The one law nobody understands and everybody lives in fear of is coming up. But let's start with Law 7. The duration of the match. Soccer match is comprised of two 45-minute halves with extra time added at the referee's discretion. Halves are separated by a halftime period that cannot exceed 15 minutes. So the referee is the timekeeper. And for any time there's a stoppage in play, a goal, a kick, ball went all the way out of bounds to the parking lot, across the street to the 7-Eleven, he can stop his clock and add some extra time on. So they have special watches, you can see it in the lower left-hand corner of the slide, that help him keep track of the time, and he is the one and only timekeeper for the match. Law 8, the start and restart of play. Kickoff is generally determined by a coin toss. Kickoff occurs at the start of each half and after a goal is scored. It is taken at the center of the halfway line. If the team scores a goal, the opposing team, the other team that got scored on, is given the kickoff to restart the match. Law number 9, the ball in and out of play. The ball is out of play when it fully crosses either the goal line or the touch line. Is also out of play if the referee stops play for any reason. So this is important. This is a fundamental concept of soccer. The entire ball has to cross the line out of play. So here we see this ball is clearly inside. This is the field of play. This over here is the out of bounds. This ball is clearly in the field. Here it's touching the white sideline. That represents the white sideline, but it's still in play. This ball is just barely touching the line, so it's still in play. This ball is completely over the line, so it's out of play. So in so many American sports, we're used to the player. Is the player in bounds? Is the player out of bounds? In soccer, it doesn't matter where the player goes. The player can go beyond the parents, halfway to the parking lot. It's where the ball is. Only the ball matters. It never matters where the human goes in these things. So, Law 10, the method of scoring. A goal is scored when the entire ball has crossed the goal line within the frame of the goal. At the end of the match, the team with the most goals wins. Again, this is very important, right? So this hasn't fully crossed the line. It's touching the line, so it's no goal. This is still touching the line. It's no goal. This is still touching the line. It's no goal. The entire ball, you can see space between the ball and the white line. The entire ball has crossed the line, and that's so very different from football. Right? In NFL, American football, if any part of the football breaks the plane of the goal, it's considered a touchdown. Very opposite in soccer. In soccer, the entire ball has to get across the goal line for it to be a goal. Law 11. Dun dun dun! Offsides. When an attacking player receives the ball while in his opponent's half, he must be even with or in front of the second to last defender, with the last typically being the goalkeeper. However, this rule only applies if he is involved in the play. Let me break that down. Basically, when a player receives the ball, he needs to have two defenders between him and the goal. And usually one always counts as the goalkeeper. So if you look in this picture here, we're going to assume the goalkeeper is over here. Does he have a second defender here between him and the goal? No, he is behind this last line of red defenders. Right, so their line of defense would be here. He's behind that line, so he is in an offside position. Here's a much better illustration of that. Again, we have the goalkeeper, and through the use of graphics, we've created this line that shows the second defender, right? So you've got, here's one defender, here's number 2 defender. Everybody needs to be on this side of the white line. Everybody in here is considered to be onsides, but this guy, he is offside. He does not have two defenders between him and the goal. Now, there's a lot to look at here. The key to offsides is when the ball is kicked, you must be onside. Okay? So if we look here, we see the player is kicking the ball. And this guy is on an onside position. He's currently onside, right? Everybody behind this line would be considered offsides. He's in an onside position, but he could run over here. If this ball traveled here, as long as he started from an onside position, he can meet up with the ball in an offside position and not be considered offside. You're only offsides if you're in the offside position beyond this imaginary black line when the ball is kicked. You can run in behind the defense, so you have to start from an onside position. If he was back here, the whole play would stop because he would be in an offside position. Another thing I want you to look at in this picture is look at the assistant referee up here. The assistant referee will usually stand even with the last defender, so hopefully you can see that he's kind of setting the line. So when you're just watching the match, you won't obviously have this graphic with the line telling you exactly where the offside line is, but if you look, watch where the assistant referee is, he will kind of give you a visual clue as to where this offside line is. He should be moving even with the last defender, or the defender farthest back towards their goal is considered the last defender. So when a player receives the ball, at the time the ball is kicked, he has to be in an onside position. If he's back here, he's offside. So hopefully you got that. If not, email me a question. I'll be happy to go over offsides a little deeper with you. But that is the difference between offsides and onsides. Law 12, fouls and misconduct. A direct free kick is ordered when a player kicks or attempts to kick an opponent, trips or attempts to trip an opponent, jumps at an opponent, charges an opponent, strikes or attempts to strike an opponent, pushes an opponent, tackles an opponent. Tackle does not mean football tackle. We're not talking NFL here. Nobody should be using their hands. We're talking sliding in or using your feet to try to get the ball and you trip them. That's a soccer tackle. If a player holds an opponent, spits at an opponent, or handles the ball deliberately, a free kick is awarded. Now, here's the clue to know when a free kick is awarded. Look at the referee. Do you see the referee's giving kind of a first down sign, if you're familiar with NFL football, right? If she's pointing in a direction, that is a direct free kick. So how the ref holds their hands will tell you whether it's a direct or indirect free kick. Any of those fouls results in a direct kick. And a direct kick means they can kick it directly into the goal. Doesn't need to touch anybody. It can go directly into the goal. That's a direct kick. Indirect free kicks are awarded if a player plays in a dangerous manner, impedes the progress of an opponent, prevents the goalkeeper from releasing the ball from his or her hands, or commits any other unmentioned offense. Look at the ref. See, his hand is straight up in the air. If the kick is indirect, he will put his hand up in the air and hold it up until the player takes the kick. Referee has his hand up in the air, it's indirect kick. An indirect kick means it cannot go directly into the goal. It must be touched by another player. Could be your own player, could be another player. It's pretty hard to bounce it off on the player into the goal, but it's got to touch somebody else before it can go into the goal. Yellow cards. Yellow cards are awarded as a caution or warning to a player and can be issued for the following offenses: unsporting behavior, dissent by word or action. That's essentially arguing with the ref. And you don't have to be a player. If you're a spectator and you constantly are badgering or, arguing with the ref's calls, he can come over and give you a yellow card. It's not just for players. Fans and parents can get yellow carded too. And I like the look on Lionel Messi's face here. He's like, "What? You're giving me a yellow card? I don't believe it." You can also get a yellow card for persistent infringement of the laws of the game, delaying the restart of play, failure to respect the required distance when play is restarted with a corner kick, free kick, or throw-in. What is the required distance? Hopefully you remembered it's 10 yards. You've got to be 10 yards away from the other team taking a kick. If you're entering or re-entering the field of play without the referee's permission, yes, you need the referee's permission to come onto the field and to leave the field. Deliberately leaving the field of play without the referee's permission will give you a yellow card. Remember, I said the referee is the ultimate authority. You need his blessing to come onto the field or off the field. So sometimes when a player falls down and you think they might be injured, you'll often see the coach kind of lingering at the sideline. He has to wait for the referee to wave him on. He can't just run onto the field. If there's a stoppage and an injured player, he needs permission from the referee to enter the field. Law 12. More fouls and misconduct. Red cards are used to send a player off the field and can be issued for the following offenses: serious foul play, violent conduct, spitting at an opponent or any other person, denying the opposing team a goal or an obvious goal-scoring opportunity by deliberately handling the ball. Obviously, the goalkeeper is allowed to do that. Denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity by an opponent moving towards the player's goal by an offense punishable by a free kick or a penalty kick. Using offensive or abusive language or gestures. receiving a second caution yellow card. If you get one yellow, you get a second yellow card. The second yellow automatically becomes a red, and you're out. So anything that happens in the box that results in a penalty kick should be a yellow or red card. There should be a level of seriousness to those fouls that result in some sort of card. Although a lot of referees will just say, you got a free goal basically out of it, maybe I'm not going to give the card. So those are the fouls and misconduct rules, and you do any of those things, you get a foul called, you might get a yellow, you might get a red. Hopefully nobody's red carding your day, and thank you again for watching.